Welcome to my channel. Today, I'll show you a simple crystal cake recipe. The ingredients are listed below. Please subscribe. First, beat 4 room temperature egg whites until stiff. As they foam, add 3/4 cup sugar gradually, waiting 15-20 seconds between additions. Continue this process until all the sugar dissolves into the egg whites. Next, add 4 egg yolks one at a time, reducing the mixer speed. Then add 4 tablespoons of rapeseed oil. I chose rapeseed oil for its neutral taste, which won't alter our cake's flavor. It's also a great alternative to butter. Most homes have cooking oil for various dishes, so there's no worry about not having enough butter. It's convenient as it doesn't need melting. Next, add sifted flour with baking powder in batches. Then gently fold the mixture with a spatula to keep the egg whites fluffy. After that, the prepared beef. Pour into a 20 by 30 centimeters pan lined with parchment. Bake at 170 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes until the toothpick comes out clean. Cool and halve. Dissolve 3 jellies in 250 milliliters boiling water each. Let set completely, then cut into small cubes. Whip 800 milliliters of cream until stiff. Dissolve crystal jelly in 200 milliliters hot water. If unavailable, use lemon jelly. Once cooled but still liquid, pour into whipped cream and mix briefly. Set aside 6-7 spoons of this cream for the top. Add 2/3 of chopped jellies to the larger portion. Mix with a spatula. Place cut sponge in mold. Optionally, soak with lemon water or tea. Spread jelly mixture, then add second sponge layer. You can soak the top sponge in water or lemon juice. Then spread the cream we set aside earlier, without jellies, onto the sponge. Next, arrange the remaining jellies on top. Chill the prepared cake in the fridge, ideally overnight. I gently press the jellies into the cream so they won't fall off when slicing. As you can see, the cake looks beautiful and tastes great. Do try making it. You'll find all my recipes on my blog. I always put the link below the video. Thanks for watching and take care.